Welcome, everybody. It's good to have you all here. We're not quite at the 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern time yet, so give another few seconds for everybody to join, but we're excited to have you here. As we um, as we get started, let me make sure that everybody has chat functionality today. Um, Yeah, but before we get started, as we kind of wait for everyone to trickle in, would love for anyone to drop in the chat who you are, what school you're from. If there's anything excited that you're looking forward to about the presentation, feel free to share that as well. But would love to get to know who's in the audience. Greetings from Denver. All right. We're still having some folks trickle in, but I'm going to go ahead and get the slide deck ready to present in just a moment. Oh, it's Dan. Dan, it's good to see you. I think you were at yesterday's session too, so welcome back. Hi, Ken. Oh, hi, Alex again. Keep on dropping in the chat who you are, where you're from. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen so that I can introduce our incredible host today, Annette, who we're really excited to see your presentation. And let's see. Okay. Can everybody see my screen with a journey to unlocking hidden revenue with runes? Today's presentation will be led by Annette Sachs. I've had the pleasure of working with her quite a bit this year, and I'm really excited for you all to hear what she has to say, get to know her, and see what she's got in her presentation. She is coming from to us from Cabner, which is the College of Agriculture, Biotechnology, and Natural Resources at the University of Nevada, Reno. Not the main campus, but she will also be speaking about some of her experience in past institutions. So really excited to have her on the presentation today. Just a couple of quick notes. You are here in the top right corner with Annette's face and with my face. Yesterday we had our welcome kickoff. We had CMO's roadmap to knocking down silos with Carrie Phillips at the University of Arkansas Little Rock. You are able to find both of those recordings on our website on the Concept3D Summit landing page. So if you missed it, really encourage you all to go check those out. We've got a lot more for this week as well. Tomorrow we'll be speaking with UsableNet, which is an accessibility partner, University of Idaho on Thursday, and then Gardner Webb on Friday. So be sure to check it out and join us again. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Annette. Throughout the conversation today, if you all have any questions, definitely be dropping those in the chat box. Mikey and I, who is helping to moderate this discussion, will be taking a peek at those. Most of those we'll be saving for the Q&A portion, but as you think of things, just pop them in live. And yeah, without further ado, Annette, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic on to you. Let me know if you need me for anything though throughout your presentation.
I will. Thank you, Christian. Hi, everyone. Just a quick introduction about myself. I have been with the University of Nevada, Reno, the main campus, and Cabner for about 6 months. My previous experience was in the state of California, where I served for 26 years in K through 14, My last position was at a community college level as the Vice President of Administrative Services, overseeing everything from budget to liability and everything else. Spend majority of my time there during COVID, and that is really where I got to know Concept3D, and really utilize the services that they offer and the product to simplify our lives through COVID, as our campuses were completely absent of staff and absent of students. And then as we transitioned back and had more students on campus than we had staff, and we were able to utilize Concept3D to really organize the student experience on campus. And I've built a relationship with Concept3D that has really allowed me to align goals for the campus, and ensure, compliance with maps, and sustain our campus culture. Go ahead, Christian. So some of the products that I have used in the past with Concept3D has been maps. And now, as I arrived to the University of Nevada in Reno, I realized that we're already using maps, but we really wanted to find other solutions utilizing the platform. So some of the problems that I was facing when I first came here, number one, is completely different state, completely different funding mechanism and rules and regulations. And what I realized that even though I was at a much larger campus, there were a lot of archaic methods that we were still using. And I felt that we needed to change that. So Cabner, our College of Agriculture in Nevada, is not only in the main campus in Reno. We actually have a foothold throughout the entire state. We have facilities ranging from the far northeast side of the state all the way down past Las Vegas. And it's not just physical buildings that we have farms, acreage, equipment, houses, shearing grounds. We have a tremendous amount of real estate that we own as a college. In addition to here on the main campus, we have facilities, and we have a greenhouse facility that is used by PIs on campus as well as other colleges. And what we are still facing is that a lot of our facilities are being regularly utilized, but there is very little record or oversight as to how it's being utilized, who is utilizing it, when they're utilizing it. Do they even belong to our campus? Are they guests? Are they volunteers? Do we have students? Do we have minors on campus? Is there equipment that's being used that folks need to have some sort of a experience using, like large tractors, large heavy equipment? And when I got here, the answer to all the above is yes. Everybody's using our facility. Yes, we have very dangerous equipment that folks are using. And the way we were accounting for it is, on the good place, it was an Excel spreadsheet. On a not so good place, it was, somebody jotted a note on a chicken scratch and some napkin. And that was how we were managing our facilities. And what we realized is that not only were people overlapping in facility use, but they were using our equipment, tractors. We even have a meat processing plant with, you can imagine, with very, very dangerous equipment that folks were using, and we had no control over liability, over waivers, over insurance. And I felt like that was the first thing I was meant to fix, because nothing bad had happened yet, but it was only a matter of time. It wasn't a question of if, it was a question of when. So I started looking at different methods of keeping track of what we have, number one, what facilities we have, and who was using it. And I reached out to a few vendors, and reached out to Concept3D and said, hey, you guys are doing UNR's maps. It looks fantastic. Do you have anything to help us out with facilities? rentals, something, some way to account. I mean, I see all our facilities on your maps. Do you have something? And I got in contact with Christian, and they said, yes, we have this great product called Rooms. And we started looking at it, and it was what I felt as perfect. It was a great way for us to really have an accounting of every single facility here on our main campus, as well as our main station farm, which is hundreds of acres, all our equipment, and you know, and centralize it in some way, and then allow folks, whether internal or external, to go on the website on the link, on the Rooms link, and be able to ask permission, for lack of better words, or request to use a facility, to request to use equipment that comes with the facility, to let us know who's using it, how many people they anticipate to be in the space, what type of equipment they need to use, what type of time frame they're looking to use it. Do they need some prep time? Do they need, of course, they're going to need some cleanup time. Do they need resources such as custodial, janitorial service? Do they need IT? Do they need audio visual? What is needed in this space? And then what we're able to do, not only know that we know exactly who's using it, but we're able to have a recharge account to bill, to charge for the services we're providing, for the space, for the equipment, for the power that's being used at the time, for the janitorial service, and be able to recoup some of this cost. Until now, we were hemorrhaging money. We were paying to run the space and really having no way to recoup that cost. And as time passed, our facilities, and I'm sure everybody's facilities, take a beating, take a lot of wear and tear. And there's really no way to fix it except using O&M charges. And then the university comes back and says, well, that's going to cost X amount. And it comes right out of our budget. Now we feel like we have a way to recoup these costs and really pass the cost share to all our user group on campus. Another thing we realized is that we have outside individuals that have nothing to do with the university who are knocking on our door to use our facilities. We're very centralized in the city of Reno, and Reno is very much up and coming. We've actually had some country music artists reach out to us and ask if they can use our main station farm as a concert venue. And we've never had to deal with this before. We're right across the street from the rodeo grounds, so they felt like that would be an ideal location. And we sort of scattered. We didn't know, how do we handle this? All of a sudden, somebody with deeper pockets than we have, wants to use our facilities. What can we offer? And now we feel that with Concept3D and this platform, we can actually entertain this type of demand that is coming our way. The way we found that this works is individuals, whether they're internal to the university, to Cabner, or just to the university at large, can log on to the website and they can initially put in a request to use a space on our campus or in our college. It comes to us and we can at first glance say, yeah, that sounds like something we'd like to entertain. And if we don't, we eliminate it right then and there. Once we approve it, it goes through a workflow. And that allows us to hit all the stakeholders that have ownership of space. And as we know, when we work in public education, people have ownership of space. Even though it's university space, people have ownership. So this allows us to really allow all the stakeholders to see the request. Moving forward, it allows us to track the usage, the users, the frequency. It allows us to charge for everything that's being used, not just the space, but also the equipment, the heavy equipment, tractors, lights, everything, tables, chairs, anything that we can recharge, we charge to recoup costs and to be able to replenish equipment as it wear and tear sets in. So our approach here at Kavner is looking at a way to reserve space. When I was looking at, what is the rest of the university doing? So my initial response was, there must be something in place. There had to be something in place. We're a large institution, a large research institution. They must have a way of reserving space. And what I realized is that we actually had a homegrown system that one individual here on our campus built, and the university has been using this platform for the last 15, 20 years. What came to light is that that individual actually works for Kavner within our college, but he has put this platform together for the entire university. The next thing that came to light is that that person will be retiring in November. And we all know what happens when people have ownership and they've developed something and everyone's using it, and then they leave and it tends to collapse. So as you know, when we realize that, we're like, okay, now has now become from a want to a must have. I reached out to the university, to the larger university blanket, and said, hey, what are you guys looking to do once so-and-so retires? And this system is going to go away. And they said, well, we're actually looking at a new system, and it came to light that they were also in conversation with Concept3D, since Concept3D has done the maps and the wayfinding for the entire university. My initial response was, great, let us get together and we'll be your pilot if you guys pay for it. And they came back to us and they said, well, we're not quite there. Everything happens very, very slowly in universities and large organizations. I said, okay, do I have the green light to do a pilot? We will pay for it. We will own it. We will try it out. They said, yes, go ahead. You can pilot it. I said, fantastic. So we are really, as Kavner, which is one of the larger colleges at UNR, we are the pilot for Concept3D room reservations. We're hoping to set it up in such a way where we're the gold standard, that everybody kind of follows suit after Kavner. We are the college that has the most amount of real estate and facilities statewide. So we're really hoping to implement in such a way that makes it easy for the rest of the university to follow suit. Right now, we are focused on our main campus here at UNR and our greenhouse facility that I know the map was there before. And then we're going to move on to our main station farm, which houses our meat processing plant, a feedlot, several homes, many, many acres of usable land that our PIs do research on. And the goal is with PIs, they apply for grants, they receive tremendous amounts of money, and they need to expand that. Part of what they promise to do in grants is how their research will be conducted, where they're going to be doing the research, and they do it utilizing the facilities at UNR. So we are able to have recharge accounts against their grant programs. We're generating revenue by allowing them to use our specialized facilities. And we have taken the responsibility to make sure the facilities is in good order, utilizing the recharge accounts. This allows us to make decisions because we can actually track use of space and where is the most space being utilized. So it allows us to make really smart decisions in our investments as a college. Christian, you want to move next then?
Okay. Yeah, for the next one, Annette, I know we had a couple of quick little questions. So if you still are on board, I can launch a little poll. And so, audience, this is when we ask you to put your thinking caps on a little bit. And also a good time as we take a break for some polls. If you have any questions, again, feel free to drop those in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and launch this. It's going to be in Zoom, so you don't have to go anywhere. I will get a little thumbs up from Mikey. Is this showing up? Amazing. So yeah, for the first question, really simple. We'd just love to know a little bit about what your kind of challenges with reservations are today. I have a few options that I actually pulled these options from feedback that I got at the ASTI conference last month or a month or so ago, which is a big old conference for kind of event management and reservations. So it looks like there are a lot of points that resonate with the audience there, and excited to kind of see some of these answers come through. I will give everything a second. I'm not sure if you all can see the responses. Mikey, thumbs up or no if the responses are visible.
I can't see the responses yet, but I will let you know shortly.
No, that's fine. I kind of see them as they're coming in, so I'll talk a little bit about it. What is the biggest challenge with reservations today? The number one that I'm seeing right now is disconnected systems. So that is really interesting because I think it's probably something I hear from every school that I speak with, at least who's interested in kind of making their approach a bit more refined. Second to that are manual workflows, revenue generation and tracking. Some of the key priorities. Actually, I don't see those because it's a written response one, but I'll definitely take a peek at it more. And then on the answer for how important is revenue generation, half of the responses are somewhat. We've got a couple critical, couple not important, some not sure, which is very reasonable. Yeah, Annette, curious if you have any thoughts about any of these results as I'm sharing them live. We still have a couple that are coming in. And as I get ready to kind of wrap this up, is oh great, policy enforcement is another challenge. Alex, you might be one of the ones who said other. I was going to actually ask who said that if they could drop it in the chat. Policy enforcement. I'm curious if you're thinking like university policies that you need people to kind of sign and agree to, or if there's something else on your mind with that. I'm going to leave this up for just another second. Thank you all for the responses. We have over 50% now who have participated in the poll, which I always love to see. Awesome. I will, what we'll do too, whenever we kind of follow up with this, all of these results are anonymous, so we won't be sharing your feedback with other people. But I'll kind of put together maybe some a compilation of some of this, so you all can kind of see how people responded. What are some of the other challenges that folks are kind of facing across the board and stuff like that. Alex, thanks for expanding on that. That's penalties for not following the approved system use. I've heard that before, and I think that's something that you know, not everybody follows the rules, and so how do we capture or how do we enforce that if people aren't following, right? Okay, I've seen a slowdown in the trickle in of responses, so I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. And come back to the screen share. Thanks for sharing all of this. This is really interesting to kind of see across the board where everybody's at. Again, disconnected systems remains the number one that people have reported, followed by number two, that revenue generation and tracking is the biggest challenge. And then the third one was manual workload and no visibility in other spaces. So thanks for the participation in that. Annette, I would love to turn it back over to you. But before I do, did you have any kind of thoughts about what responses came out of that poll or anything along those lines? Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So I know I saw a couple. Oh, okay, if you could leave that up, that would be great.
These right here, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
for us, For us here at UNR, the greatest problem was workflow. You know,
Mhm.
we'd have people show up at different locations, different spaces, and we had just built a brand new state-of-the-art classroom on our main station farm that has a lab for dissections and things like that, and a cold room. And as you can imagine, for things like that, we have delivery of different animals. Um, you know, and we have to really make sure that we know who's using the space and that they don't leave things laying around for, you know, for many reasons. Um, this is going to allow all the stakeholders that have, you know, buy-in for a specific space to be included in knowing where the space, by who it's being used and when it's being used. One of the things we've put on some of our facilities is you know, we changed the locks to a combination lock. So every time somebody rents a facility, we give them the combination to enter the space. When it's fields or large equipment, we have a supervisor that's on site that gets a printout of, okay, new semester, and oftentimes our fields are rented by semester. They're not rented by the hour, they're not rented by the day, they're rented for a PI for a period of time because they have to plant, they have to grow, they have to harvest. So we have some longevity of that, we know who's using what space, and we have a supervisor in our fields that knows who's using what. Um, as far as revenue generation, you know, when individuals sign up to use a space, whether it's a field or a classroom or an office or a conference room, and we don't charge for conference rooms, that's just community space that we want to make sure that we know who's there, where, and when, just so we don't have that much space for conferences and everybody has to share. And this really allows folks to just not show up with 20 people and sit down and expect the room to be available. But for our larger spaces that we do charge and recharge for the space and for the equipment, the PI or the renter can see the cost up front. So there's no surprise. And the way we do it is we just journal it out because I oversee the business office. So we journal it out of their grant before they ever start renting, and they have to transfer the money to us. So it's not a function of them writing a check or giving us cash. We do it behind the scenes through a journal entry. Now, we also have a large facility for students because we have an equestrian program, and we have about 40 stalls that our students rent for their horses. And that is more of a community rental. So students, we rent to them by the semester. So we do, actually, we do it by 6 months, 6 months and 6 months. That way we cover the entire year. If they choose to take their horse out halfway through, that's on them, but they're committed to that semester. That is an outside rental that students come in, and we also charge them up front. They know it's X amount of money per month per horse. They have responsibilities to maintain their horse. So we have a supervisor that makes sure they do that. And oftentimes with students, as we know, they're not the ones paying, it's their parents that pay. And that's fine. We have a credit card system that parents can go ahead and submit a credit card payment either on the phone with us. We're hoping through Concept3D to automate that and be able to run our Clover system through Concept3D. And I know that is an area we're working together collaboratively to see if we can make it happen. But I see that being a great way to really cut down on time and staffing here in the office, as we could do this electronically. And our students pay, you know, monthly, or they can pay up front. You know, this is our way to connect the systems together. We have our map, we have our facilities, now we have our room reservations, we have our fiscal program, you know, processes in place directly connected to this. And we're really, really hoping that this allows us to not only set the standard at the university as they look at adopting Concept3D university-wide, but this is our way within Cabner to really grab a hold of our facility use and be able to recoup some costs to allow us to replenish our equipment. As you know, we have the same problems like every other school in the United States. We have aging equipment, aging facilities, and if we don't take care of them, the deferred maintenance just increases, and it's just at a tremendous cost moving forward. So this is our way to try to remediate that problem. Okay. Next slide. Okay.
Sorry, Annette, this is where we should be.
Not a problem. So, you know, we're looking at how we make our department more efficient. This is just one of the many things we're doing to increase efficiency moving forward. And I found this quote to be perfect. Efficiency is doing better what is already being done. So things are being done. We do things in education because we have to. We have compliance issues, we have mandatory issues, we have state controls, we have oversight, everything else. We're just trying to make it more efficient. We utilize AI. We're utilizing this program to make it, more efficient. The other thing with communicating return on investment for this, I believe that we don't charge indirect costs from our renters, but we do keep everything in our self-sufficient accounts. So all our properties that are related to Kavner are self-sustaining. We get zero support from the university as a whole. Whatever money we have, we get from grants or we get from recharge accounts. The amount of money we are projecting to earn, the revenue utilizing Concept3D, will more than pay for our overhead to purchase the rights to use Concept3D. It's a small drop in the bucket compared to the amount of revenue we're anticipating and collecting. Yeah, so it'll definitely pay for itself. And once the university buys it as a whole, they're just going to engulf us in, and they've assured me that there would be no cost to us up front. So, but even if they decide not to, I feel like this is so valuable for us to recoup costs in the long run that it's a no-brainer to get this going. And it, also from a liability perspective, one of the things that we're super excited about is not only collecting the revenue, but also being able to collect insurance, information from the renters, ensure that we know how many people are there. If there is minors on the location, that we're able to get these permission slips in place. And everything is going to be collected electronically, and it acts as a depository as well. So we don't have 10 different places we're storing different forms. It'll all live in one place. And if we're ever questioned or if there's an emergency occurring, we can log in, from anywhere. I could do it from my phone at home if need be, to see who's using a specific space, who's the responsible party, do we have insurance on file, and who's the emergency contact. And that is something that's so valuable in running a public institution and having outside people using our facilities. That is, it'll cost a tremendous amount more not to do it if we get sued or if there is something goes bad. So it's just a peace of mind more than anything else. So, takeaways, this allows you to audit the workflow. It allows us to centralize all the documentation that takes place with renting a space, especially as we're dealing with, heavy machinery and dangerous equipment. It allows us to recoup some costs and have, ongoing revenue come in. It allows us to assign ownership to the renter and put the liability, it's still on us, but it's also on them because we know who's renting. They have their ducks in a row, their paperwork in place. And it allows us to really continue the cycle and be able to continue our relationship with Concept3D and being able to centralize all this information in a secure place. before this, we, as a university, we do asset management through AssetWorks. We have billing that we do through Workday. We have a lot of different systems that are here on campus that this is not going to replace. However, it's going to work seamlessly with these other systems. Our equipment is in asset management, but it's also going to be available here. And actually from asset management, we're able to upload it and get a really good breakdown of all the equipment that we have to be able to account for it. Concept3D has been great about allowing us to complete a automated upload. So all our spaces have been entered in an Excel spreadsheet up front, allowing us to put a price on it, a location, equipment, everything, and they do a mass upload. So I know somebody had a question before on overhead costs for people managing the system. This is a very much a front-loaded system. So yes, there's been some data entry that needed to be done in order to upload the information to Concept3D. We didn't hire anybody. We don't have that kind of money to hire people to do things. This has been very much a homegrown system. I have a couple of admin assistants that I've been able to ask to share the uploading process. We have had a few meetings with internal folks, those that manage our farm and our greenhouse and and just the admins here in the main office. And they have worked together over some time. I mean, nobody has dedicated time just to do this, but it has been, a very easy process to engage and to front load. I'm sorry, I'm reading the slide. So for the external users, we are just now emerging in making this a public facing forum for them to log on. But so far, folks are very, very excited. Our PIs have been notified. We have made sure that every single dean's meeting we've had for the last 4 months, we have shared that this is the direction we're moving. And we have done that because people do not do well with change. And we realize it. Even if this change simplifies their existence here on campus, it's still change. And when we've had PIs here working for 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden we're introducing something new, it is not easy to digest. So we have made it a point, myself, every dean's meeting since November, we have been preparing folks, letting them know this is coming, letting them know the reason why it's coming. And folks are excited. They are very, very excited to get this moving. Our goal is to go completely live in the new fiscal year, which is July 1st. We are going to have some pilot divisions that start this next month, just to get folks trained so they can train their PIs. So we have each division within the college has a specialist that supports them and an admin. Those are going to be our first onboarding individuals, just because they provide a tremendous amount of support. A lot of PIs they're not even going to log on. They're going to ask the admin in the division to do it for them, and that's okay. And we're going to handhold as we completely roll this out. And I think folks will realize how easy it is and how user-friendly it is. They will embrace it. So like I mentioned before, some of the things that myself sitting in the admin services or area, what I worry about is what the newspaper is going to read the next day. That's the way I always think of things. Is someone going to get hurt and they're going to say they got hurt on one of our facilities? Is someone going to do something and we didn't know these people were supposed to be there? I'm excited about being able to collect all these documents up front to ensure that if God forbid something happens, that we knew who was there, why they were there, and we knew they had insurance and they knew everything was up front. There's no surprises. Rental contracts are going to be in place, insurance, liability waivers, and any special requests. oftentimes when in the classroom specifically, they do, they bring in different animals to do research on. We need to know what they have. They have to meet criteria. They have to make sure they fill certain documentation out for the university. This would allow us to know and make sure everything is in place before they ever enter our facility. And that excites me. And if you're sitting in a managerial position that oversees compliance, I'm sure you'll be excited too. That this could be a peace of mind. This assigns, oh, go back one. Thank you. This assigns ownership not only to the renter, but also to the department that owns the classroom or the facility that we're using. Just, my expectation is that we keep our facilities in good order and that our renters come in and they pay money to use the facility and they get a facility that's in good order. It allows all stakeholders to be aware through workflow. And I truly believe if, a space is owned by a PI or a lecturer or a manager or director, and they know who's coming in to use their facility, they're going to take extra good care of it. And they're not going to leave stuff laying around, dangerous things laying around. So we're hoping to see improvement in space management utilizing this system as well. Okay. So for us, this is an investment. Actually, if you look at the picture, this is our greenhouse facility. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility. It's been there for, 15 years or so. It's relatively new. We try to maintain it. And, there's a lot of wear and tear. If you've never been to Reno, we get snow, we get wind, we get sun, we get everything. It is our responsibility to maintain the facility. We're hoping, we actually know that this investment into Concept3D is going to help us support the rest of our investments throughout the college. And allow us to keep better data on who is using our facility. We are going through a period of growth. The University of Nevada, Reno is looking to open a new veterinary school. We're hoping to expand Kavner. There is a lot of growth in the state of Nevada, and this will allow us to track our usability and our growth and hopefully have that translate when we go to legislature to show data of how much of our facility is being used. And this will allow us to really generate that data very, very quickly instead of going through numerous Excel spreadsheets and notes that people leave. This will actually give us hard data of the use of our space and our facility.
All right. Thank you, Annette. I'm gonna run through a couple of quick slides here for the audience as well, and then right once I complete the next couple of slides, we're gonna open it up for Q&A. So if you've had any questions throughout the presentation today, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We'll make sure that we cover it in the Q&A, and if you're still trying to think of some, then go ahead and jot down any notes, and that's what we kind of go into next. But for a few seconds here, I just wanted to share some in line, I think, with a lot of what Annette said, but also just bringing it a bit broader. I have spoken with a lot of schools across the country and been refining different tactics for maximizing revenue. I have a few to share with you, and these all actually come from conversations that we had at a conference, an events conference about a month or so ago, where folks were really just sharing, different ways that they're thinking about increasing revenue or challenges that they're facing. And I think there's some cool call outs that we can make for what we're doing to support that. First off, just integrated billing, right? Annette mentioned that we are working on a partnership with Clover. That is what the University of Reno as an institution uses to process all of their payments. And so, I'm sure if we went through the entire attendee list on this call and asked like what payment processor your school uses, we'd get a really lengthy list. We are really motivated and dedicated to supporting, as many that makes sense across our partnerships. So from our perspective, having integrated billing within the platform where you can automatically spin up an invoice, where you can charge those payments, where you can, provide any contracts or anything along those lines, have a variety of different costing structures and methods. And even these are changing. We're going to be doing monthly, potentially even semesterly billing structures for some of the things that Annette and them are doing over at the ag school. And so another really big thing that's come to light in pretty much every conversation I've had about what can we do to kind of, better support revenue, data-driven insights is really a huge one. And whether that's for your team to maximize the efforts that you're doing and really better, capturing revenue from spaces, or whether it's a matter of having some really compelling data to share with leadership as you might be requesting more funding or this, that, and the other. No matter what the kind of use case is, what we're hearing is that strong analytics and powerful data are really critical in making making business decisions and making long-term decisions that's going to benefit your team and your school. And then one of the other things that really we as a company are particularly excited about is that we offer a really visual platform. So we've been working for about 20 years now as a company, doing a variety of different types of campus implementations. A lot of people on this call have us for interactive maps, as does the University of Nevada, Reno. A lot of folks have us for 360 tours, for our centralized events calendars. When it comes to some of these, like the tours, the maps and whatnot that we offer, we're really excited to use those as a way to really promote some of these spaces to external groups. We have a lot of beautiful content that we can incorporate. I know that one of the parts of the project we're working on with Annette and her team is to take some of the map imagery that we built for the main campus and layer it on top of their reservation system so that people can really see the layout of the campus in a really beautiful way. I'm working with other folks who are, getting us to send out some photographers to capture 360 content so that they can better market and promote their rentable spaces on their website and other avenues. So I think the last three slides that I covered are really just things that we are thinking about in ways of how we can leverage our projects and our work to help partners maximize revenue in terms of their spaces. So I know that we've covered quite a bit today. And I just want to, thank Annette for all of the content that she's shared. It's always exciting for me as someone who's worked almost for 2 years now, from the very, very baby stages of this reservation platform before we even began building it, and to see at this point where we've come and what we've been able to do. So I love, Annette, hearing stories like you shared, because that's really why we're doing this as a company, to make those types of impacts. And we appreciate all your feedback and whatnot during the deployment. I am going to kind of wrap up my portion and bring us to the Q&A. I saw that we had one question already in there, and I think, oh, okay, Alex, yeah, can we see the scheduling platform if we have time? Yeah, I don't see why not. I'd love to keep the Q&A screen open for just a little bit to offer, if anybody has questions to pull, to bring up. But yeah, if we have time, I'd be happy to do something like that. I saw one comment, Annette, you talked about the ROI kind of exceeding the cost of the product. Can you speak any more to that, or did you have any kind of like specifics to talk about or anything?
We have at the University of Nevada, Reno and Kavner, our billing for the year for equipment, and rooms and you know exceeds a couple $100,000. The cost of and I don't want to share how much we paid for the for the program, because I think each school is different and individualized, and we're a smaller college in a large university. But I can tell you that it's you know a, a very small portion of the revenue we actually raise, and the peace of mind and the data that we're going to gather from this is going to by far exceed our investment. So I would encourage you, Arena, reach out and get an estimate from Concept3D. I can tell you, for us, it was a no-brainer. Even if the university as a whole does not take this on, for us within Kavner, just with our footprint being so large, it makes sense. What we're hoping to do once we have our local facilities and our farms and our equipment in there, part of our college is also extension. And extension is throughout the state of Nevada. And if some of you have an extension program because you're also a land grant university, you know that the extension offices, we have an office in each county in the state of Nevada. We're hoping to throw those offices, which are used by community members, by 4-H clubs, by FFA clubs, by every club you can imagine uses these facilities, that we are going to move our extension program into this platform as well once we get our Kavner platform together. And I mean, just the peace of mind of knowing who's using the space, making sure their fingerprints are in place, making sure their volunteer papers are in place, is going to be invaluable. It's just a peace of mind from a liability perspective. Yeah.
Thank you, Annette. I am going to give people another opportunity to ask some questions in the chat. Alex, I really don't want to distract from the larger presentation, but I do kind of want to give you all a little quick sneak peek if that's helpful. And if there's any kind of deeper interest in what I really quickly shared today, we're obviously more than happy to kind of explore that at a different time. But this is the front end experience of our reservation system. Mikey, is it coming through?
Yep.
Well, yeah, and what we've really built is something that is intuitive, that's user-friendly, that's easy for folks who are making requests or planning their events to sort, filter, find things that are relevant for their event. We have a lot of ability for customizable options. So I know that when we were talking with Annette, we were looking at some of these filters, some of these space types, and it was like, well, these are completely different than what we're going to be using at Kavner, because we just have a different flair. So these are really customizable for those purposes. And I know a lot of folks on the call do use this for interactive maps. So this is really where we can also bring in that rich, robust imagery of your campus, layer it on top of this interface so that people are really engaging with your campus as they kind of make any reservation requests or anything like that. And this is just the front end, right? I don't want to go dovetail too deep into the technical back end, but behind all of this, we do have workflows and formal processes for approvals and all of that kind of stuff. So again, hopefully, Alex, that kind of gave you a little bit to think about. And again, we're always happy to kind of share more at a different date and time. But one thing that we really prioritized as we built this out is making it easy for folks to to wrap their head around and to get behind. I think Annette said it perfectly well, is that even if something is really simple and easy, the change management and getting people on board is still oftentimes really challenging. So to make that is seamless as possible, we want to make it as easy as possible for these to be deployed as well. So yeah, And yeah, that will actually be addressed on Friday, Alex, that we are about to go live with a two-way Outlook integration. And I will say too, because there's some, you know, good back and forth. I always like people talking to people too, Alex. I know that one of the things that we're happy to do as part of these sessions is to put people in connection with each other. So you know, you can find Annette on LinkedIn, and I'm sure if you reach out, she'll be happy to chat, and we'll share all this with her too, so she has you know, records of who all was asking questions.
And I'm actually kind of curious. So it seems like your reservations have a lot of like documents in place, whether that be like insurance and stuff like that. I'm curious with your current system, do you send like all of that just in one email, or like how does that workflow go?
But that's part of the problem we've been facing is oftentimes liability documentation was not collected. And it was just a missing piece. You
Mhm.
know, in the ag community, things are done with a handshake, and that's great until things go wrong, and then we go scattering looking for documentation. We're really hoping that this allows us to collect it up front, still have that handshake in place, still, you know, allow folks to use our facilities based on relationships like we have, but put some order in it and really open it up to everyone, so it's not just certain people being able to use it. But this will allow us to really make sure that what we need from a compliance standpoint, insurance, fingerprints, liability waivers, are collected up front, and the system is asking for it, not the personal relationship that, you know, the renter wants from the university or from, you know, our facilities, uh, and really allow the people to say, hey, this is what we need to be in compliance. Not, you know, this is what we need. This is, in order for this to process, these things have to be. So it's not, these are not optional. The application to use our space will not process unless all the documentation has been submitted. Now, once it's submitted, we're not going to ask for it again. If we know that John Smith submitted this, we have it on file for this year, we're good. Next time he wants to use a space, we're not going to ask for the same thing, but it would allow us to at least have it on file for the year or until the insurance expires. So we're looking at this as a depository also, not just a collection, a way to collect, but also a way to keep and maintain.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Right. Well, as we wrap things up, I just want to say thank you, Annette. We really appreciate both your partnership, your working with us, and obviously this incredible presentation. For everybody who's joined, thank you for participating. We will be, just like all of our other sessions, having the recording of this on the landing page for our summit. And so encourage you all, if you chimed in late or had to leave, that's a great opportunity to check it out. Yeah, Annette, again, we can't say thanks enough. This has been a great presentation. Are there any words that you want to end on?
No, I just enjoy working with Concept3D. Really easy, lots of communication, and I look forward to finalizing this and get it going and have it be successful. So thank you for having me, and thank you, everyone.
Thank
Well,
you.
wonderful rest of your Tuesday, and we are excited to see to see you all tomorrow for the next session, which is designing a DOG ready digital ecosystem. So thank you again, Annette, and look forward to seeing you all throughout the week.